Today we'll start Chafei Amid Base on the bottom. The wide lines, the line right before the wide lines. And thank Hashem that we're able to learn every day. And because of our learning, we should have the Beis Hamikdash immediately. Before Shleima, for Yechiel Nassim ben Sarah and Aaron David Alevi ben Menucha Ad Lester. So how you Masan and who, I'm sorry?
Sarah.
Avram ben Sarah.
Abraham Raphael.
Who else? Jimmy, what was the other name?
No, Abraham Raphael ben
Oh,
Sarah.
Avram Raphael ben Sarah. For Shleima. Okay, so it says Hayim Masan v'yard the Gesham Kedem Neitzcham Chulu. What happens if they're fasting and then Hashem answers their prayers and it starts to rain? So do they finish the fast? Do they say, oh, it's okay, we found the parking spot? No. They say, thank you, Hashem. It's good enough. We don't have to finish fasting. So in the Mishnah we had, it depends when it started raining. So let's see, the Gemara now quotes the Brisa. If they were fasting, it's probably the later fast that they started at night, the night prior. And it starts to rain before sunrise. So they don't have to finish the fast. They could already eat breakfast. If the rain begins after sunrise, then yashlimu, they have to finish the fast. Reb Meir. That's the words of Reb Meir. Yeah. What is the logic for each of these? Rashi over here mentions that if it's before Neitzachama, then it's not really considered the fast. It's not like the fast began. But after Neitzachama, it began, and then you can never stop it once the fast began. Rabbi Yehuda says no. It has to do with before Chatzos or after Chatzos, midday. Because the fact that they didn't eat before midday is not a proof that it's a fast. Because not everyone eats before midday. They would eat after midday. That's already, now the fast began. Now you don't stop the. If it rained before 9 hours into the day, 9 hours is 3 o'clock, right? Like 6 to 6 would be 9. Is that correct? Yeah, I hear. But let's say in the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. It would be 3 o'clock. If it rains before 3 o'clock, so then they don't have to finish the fast. But after 9 hours, after 3 o'clock, then Yashlima, they already have to finish the fast. Yeah. Always on Tisha B'Av, people say, we should have the Beis Hamikdash, and then we won't have to finish the fast. It's not so pashut. It's not so pashut if we're going to finish the fast. Yeah, at least from this, it looks like really Tisha B'Av is the next parak. But okay. We find the Achav fasted 9 hours from after the 9 hours. So that's considered a fast from after the 9 hours. Where do we see that? So what happened here? After the story with Navis, Navis had a vineyard that Achav wanted, and they made up Izevel made up something with him. He ended up getting killed, and Achav, he didn't want to sell it to Achav. So Achav, right after he gets killed, goes in and takes over the property.
What was the excuse that he killed him?
What was the excuse? What did he? What was the? What did he do wrong? Do you remember? What did they say he did wrong?
He didn't get a vaccination.
I don't think it says. They set up a court.
He said it before. So then he goes in, and then was it Elio that tells him? Elio tells him, you kill and then you inherit. Is that what you do? You go kill and you immediately inherit. And the tradition tells us that all of this was on the same day. That and then Achav tears his clothes and he feels bad and he fasts. So when does he fast? So it's already 9 hours into the day, and that's when he starts fasting. What we're seeing is that the fast begins at 9 hours. So if after 9 hours they started the fast, if after 9 hours it starts to rain, then it's too late already. You don't break the fast. It's already a fast. Yeah, I saw pshat in the Koran in the notes on the Koran. They have a nice pshat over here. See, really, it says Hashem says, "Haresa ki nichna Achav." See that Achav was humbled. He's not referring to Navis. He's referring to going back to the with the Baal. Remember when they had the showdown on Hara Carmel? So over there, it says Elio tells Achav, now go eat, because it started to rain, right? Started to rain. So he says, now go eat. So Achav doesn't eat. He fasts. Now that was by mincha time. It says Elio mincha was by mincha time. So that's already the 9 hours. That was where the fast was, where he didn't eat even though it had rained then. Okay, however you want to learn this. Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya Gazet and Isa V'Yadlam Geshamim Lachan Eitzachama. Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya, the grandson of Rabbi Danasi, he imposed the fast, and it rained, but it rained after sunrise. Savalash Laminu. So he says it's after sunrise. We have to finish the fast. Amalei Rabbi Ami says to him, we learned that it doesn't have to do with sunrise, it has to do with chatzos. That was a machlekes between Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda. He tells him, Rabbi Yehuda Nesiya thought to follow Reb Meir, and Rabbi Ami tells him, no, you can follow Rabbi Yehuda. You don't have to finish the fast. Shmuel HaKatan Gazet and Yisrael Yadlem Gesham Kedem Netzachama. Shmuel HaKatan.
We have another place that chatzos officially is used as midday.
No, we have all over brachas. All over brachas. No, it says chatzos. It says.
Okay.
Is that usually midnight or not necessarily?
That's
So, Shmuel HaKatan imposes a fast. And it rained before Netzachama. That sounds good, right? The people thought to say, such a hush of a community. Hashem listened to us. So Amalahem, he says, I'll give you an example. What is this comparable to? A servant that wants a prize. Pras is a prize from his master. Amalahem, just give it to him. He should stop whining. He should just give it to him. I don't want to hear his voice. So he's saying, you think you're so chashiv. Hashem just wants to get rid of you. Okay.
This is like in Pirkei Avos. I said, don't be happy over the downfall of your enemy.
That's what Shmuel HaKatan. What else does he has another point over there?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so how does this associate with that?
No, because the enemy is the Yitzhahara. I don't get. Yeah, you think you did a great job doing tshuva. Don't get so.
Oh wow, isn't that interesting? I want to know why it's called Shmuel HaKatan. is it associated with this? That the humility. In what? In in River Magalis?
No.
Oh, really? In the introduction to the Talmud, Ram Naftali says over there it says Shmuel HaKatan is because of his humility. Shmuel Klein. That's the Yiddish.
Story about Rabbi Gamliel inviting 7 people to the attic.
Okay. Was it?
And he showed up.
Uh-huh.
He said the one who I didn't invite has to leave.
Uh-huh.
Shmuel had been invited, he left. So that's where he also be embarrassed.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Okay. Let's see further. Shmuel HaKatan, Gazer Tanisa v'Yodlem Geshamim Lacha Shkia Sachama. It rained after Shkia. That means they waited a whole day. They fasted a whole day. The people thought, so, wow, we fasted and look at what we accomplished. Shmuel tells them it's not the praise of the community. Let me give you an example. A servant that asks for a reward from his master, and the master says, let him get pain and suffer a little bit, and then give it to him. So Hashem only gave it to him after the day of fasting, so it wasn't a good sign. The Gemara says, so when would Shmuel agree that it's because the community was good and they were deserving? So Amar Masha V'ruach V'nashav Zika, if they say Masha V'ruach and immediately the wind blows, Amar Merida Geshem V'asa Mitra, say Merida Geshem and immediately the rain falls, then that would be proof. Has to be 100%. Yeah, I don't know if we could handle a rabbi like that. I want to be told that we're the best generation, we're the best community, we're the best. Yeah. It's an interesting thing with the very successful leadership, Jewish leadership in America. They all said that like America gives us the best of this, the most sincere, the best Bachrim, the best in America. That was they saw the Mila of the community. That was times changed. Okay, Ma'asav Agosu Taanis Balud Chulu. It's a story. They decreed a fast in Lud. What happened? And it rained. And what was the end of the? Well, what does it say that? What? Oh, is that the Mishnah? Yeah, Amalem Reb Tarfon. It rained before noon. Reb Tarfon says, "Go and eat." And then after they ate, then they said halal. Okay, the Gemara asks, "V'nema halal mikara." Why did they have to go out and then come back? They could have gotten halal taken care of while they're all in shul, and they could have said halal right away. Would have been much more convenient. So Abaya v'Rava Damar Tavayo, Abaya and Rava say, "If you halal elal nefesh sevei v'keres malaya." You can only say halal on a full stomach. Now, turns out that we're probably not talking about halal. We're talking about halal hagadol. There's halal mitzri and halal hagadol. Halal mitzri is the halal that we're familiar with, b'tzeis Shalmi Mitzrayim and all of that. Halal hagadol is the kili elam chastes, the 26 kili elam chastes. And one of them says, "Neisin lechem l'chol basar kili elam chastei Haidul Kel Hashemayim Kilei Chaste. So Noisin Lechem L'Chol Basar. He gives food, he gives bread to all flesh. Once you've eaten, then Haidul Kel Hashemayim Kilei Chaste. Then you can say the prayers. So that's actually why I think on Pesach we say that part of Hallel after the meal. Yeah. Eini, is that how it works? Rav Papa Ikla Lebei Knishta da Abei Goiver. Rav Papa went to the shul in Abei Goiver of Abei Goiver. It's the name of a shul, a name of a place. The Gozer Tanisa imposed the fast. And it rained. So Ad Chatzos, it rained before noon. V'amar Halal, they said Halal right away. Then they ate and they drank. So they put the halal in before the feast. So the Gemara answers, Shani b'nei mechus t'shlichu b'shechros. They had a real kiddush over there. They would not be able to say halal after the kiddush. So, yeah. They have these shows that overdo the kiddush. They say, like, sometimes they get so drunk, there's like ambulances outside, like after a kiddush. So it's serious. Anyway, they won't be able to say halal. Taisvis over here says that's why we say halal in Psuki de Zimra, but not b'shas tefillah. The problem is, how do we say halal? How do we say Haidul Kel Hashemayim in the morning? How do we say that we haven't eaten yet? Well, Lubavitch is different. It's straight from the Mezainis. But Taisu says Lahachiyim halal gadol kedem sheikh b'yishtu. B'psuki de Zimra nayig and laimar shachris. B'dafka psuki de Zimra kedem atfila. B'shas atfila inay mersela b'nefesh svev keres malaya. If it would be in tefillah, then you wouldn't be allowed to say it because you didn't eat yet. So for some reason, in Psuki de Zimra, it's acceptable. Yeah. 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 Are we saying it as halal or are we saying it as tillim? I don't know. Okay, Hadran Lach say the Taanis Daf. We start the new parak. Is this the last parak? Yeah. Shleisha prakim b'shana kainim noisim es kapayim. 3 times a year, the kainim do nesias kapayim. Nesias kapayim is they raise their hands in blessing. They say yivarechacha, but they say it arba pamim bayom. There's 3 times a year that they'll say it 4 times a day. I'm just going to explain that it doesn't really mean 4 times a day. It means that there are times that it could be 4 times a day, or it's less, however many prayers there are that day. What are the 4 times a day? And then what are the 3 times a year? 4 times a day is Shachris, Musaf, Mincha, B'Neila, Sasharim. Shachris, okay. That we know at the end of Shemoneh Esrei. Musaf would be the same. Mincha is good. Nila Sharim is Nila. Now, what are the 3 times a year? Taanis Ma'amadas B'Yom Kippurim. Fast days. What are fast days? Well, it didn't rain. Ma'amadas. I don't know why this is called 3 times a year. Ma'amadas are the groups of Yisraelim that are representing the community for the Karbanos. So we'll see soon. And on Yom Kippurim, we only know of Ne'ilah by Yom Kippur. We don't know of Ne'ilah by the other fast. So
Those are who that do the Karbanos?
the Yisraelim, the regular people that represent the community at the Karbanos, because the Karbanos are supposed to be donated by all the members of the community. So who's the owner? So we have representative of the owners, the mamadas. Other
Sorry, which hall do they, what do we say by?
over there it says, I think it says Halal Mitzri, which is the
That's
halal.
what we
I
do.
think it says over there,
So that wouldn't matter about when they.
right? Because of B'tzeis Yisrael in Mitzrayim. Yeah. So Elohein Mamadas. These are the Mamadas. Because it says Tzavas B'nei Yisrael is Karbani Lachmi, command the Jewish people, it's my sacrifice, to bring the sacrifice, talking about the carbon tamid. If it's for the whole Jewish people, how is the sacrifice brought and he's not standing there? So Hiskinu Nevi'im Rishayim, the early prophets instituted. This is David and Shlomo. Shmuel and David, the early prophets. That Esther Bar Mishmaris, 24 watches of Kayanim. I'll call Mishma Hayamaimed Birushalayim Shal Kainim Shalavim Shal Yisraelim. It sounds like from the Mishnah that the Mamadas were also represented by Kainim and Leviim. However, the pshat could be that the Kainim and Leviim were doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the Mamadas were the Yisraelim that were doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it wouldn't be like they were just all in Shul, the Kainim and Leviim. The Yisraelim were in Shul. Actually, in Yerushalayim, they weren't in the Shul. In Yerushalayim, they went to the Beis Mikdash. In their cities, they went to the Shul. Let's read a drop further. It came time for this watch to go up. Kainim and Leviim Eilam Yerushalayim. Yisrael Shabbos Mishmar Miskansim Lareim V'Karen B'Maisa Bereshis. And they would read from Bereshis. Here it says that the Yisraelim would go into their cities, into their home, into their shuls of their cities. Miskansim Lareim. And it seemed before that that there wasn't in their cities, that they were in Yerushalayim. So it must be that there were some that went to Yerushalayim and there were some that went to their cities. Depends on how close they were. It's possible that the people that lived in Yerushalayim or next to Yerushalayim went to Yerushalayim, and then there were representatives all over the place that would go to their cities and they had the special prayer service.
They had shuls back then? Like when did they start having?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question. I think we
They
have,
didn't have to sit in.
right. I think we have proofs that they were praying during the time of the second temple.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Were they praying in the first temple also? Were there shuls or was it just Tfilas
They
Mincha?
did their own thing.
I think we have proofs that there were. I have to go through that, but I think we had proofs from our learning that there were shuls.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, what was he looking for? That Deitch historian. He was looking if they lit the menorah, the Hanukkah menorah during the Bayis Sheni, or if it was only after the Bayis Sheni they started to light the menorah. And did they have 8 candles during the Bayis Sheni? He's found the menorah, dates back to the Bayis Sheni. In a row, it was with 8 candles. Yeah, if that's a proof. Okay, whatever the case is. In V'Karen B'Maisa Bereshis, what would the Mamadas read? They would read in the story of creation. Now there's a parenthesis here that's not in the Mishnayos in the Yerushalmi. You see, we have different sources of our Mishnayos. The Babli has it recorded and the Yerushalmi has it recorded. It's a whole study on the way the Yerushalmi records the Mishnayos is not always the same. It should be the same because they're both explaining the same work. But and we have here printed, it's in parentheses, Anshi Maimad would fast 4 days of the week. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. V'lo hayim masanim erev Shabbos. They didn't fast on Friday. Mipnei kavod Shabbos, because they didn't want to come into Shabbos exhausted from the fasting, so starving. And they didn't want to come Sunday. They didn't fast. They shouldn't go from so much overeating to fasting. They could that's not healthy. It's called binge. They binge and then they fast. That's not good. So okay, that's why the Yerushalmi seems correct more, because if you look at the hemshech over here, what did we say before the parentheses? We read from the story of the creation. B'yom Rishon, on the first day, you see, it looks like it's a commentary or something. But B'yom Rishon, on the first day, Bereshis Vayihi Rakia, those two portions. B'sheni Yihi Rakira and Yikava Amayim. On Monday, they read those two portions, the water should gather. B'shlishi Yikava Amayim V'Mayris. They're reading always the next days as well. On the third day, they read Yikava Amayim, and also that the luminaries in the sky. B'Revi'i Marius V'Yishutzu Amayim. That's what they read on Wednesday. B'Chamishi Yitzchak Amayim V'Teitzi Aretz. They're reading Wednesdays and Thursdays. B'Shishi V'Teitzi Aretz V'Yechul Hashemayim. On the sixth day, on Friday, that's what they read. Now the Gemara is going to explain a little. The Mishnah is going to explain a little bit what's going on. Parsha Gedela Karnes B'Shnayim B'Aktana B'Yachid. You see, I think they want to get 10 psukim, and they also don't want to have an aliyah less than 3 psukim. So a Parsha Gedela, if there was a section over here that had 6 psukim, so then they would divide it into 2. Parsha Ketana, if it only had 5 psukim, then one person would read it, because it has to be divided 3 and 3. B'Shachris, b'Musaf, u'b'Mincha, nichnasin v'kayrin al piyam k'kayrin Shema. They would say these portions by heart. Yeah, this seems a little strange because it looked like they were reading it before. V'kayrin b'Maisa Bereshis. It looked like they were reading it by heart, and now the Gemara says that they're the Gemara is going to ask it. The Mishnah, it's a question. We'll see. Erev Shabbos b'Mincha lo hayu nechnasim b'nei kavod Shabbos. Erev Shabbos afternoon, they had to prepare for Shabbos. They didn't come to gather to recite this.
Excuse me, when and where are you're saying this?
This is in Yerushalayim,
Not the
and
ones
it's
that
also
stay-
in the cities. Also in the cities. Yeah. Kol yom sheyesh by halal. Any day that has halal, ein maimed b'shachris. Ein boy maimed shachris. They didn't have this gathering in the morning. They were too busy. They had to say halal. Yeah. This reminds me of the Yeki. He says, he calls up his wife, I'm going to be late. We're starting to say the same Talamata tonight. So, the little bit of time. So, yeah, that's what's going on. They couldn't say the portion because they had to say halal. What day would it be that there's a halal? Hanukkah. Korban Musaf, let's say that day had a Musaf. Oh, now it could be anything. It could be Rosh Chodesh, right? Ein ben Ne'ilah. They went to the Ma'amadas by Ne'ilah. Where would they have a Ne'ilah? I guess the Ma'amadas added in Ne'ilah. Yeah, I didn't realize that the Ma'amadas automatically had Ne'ilah.
It's just on Yom Kippur, no?
That's what I thought. I thought Ne'ilah was a Yom Kippur thing, but apparently they added a Ne'ilah for the fast days. And the Maimed was a fast day. They had Ne'ilah.
Was that an established custom? Because we don't do that anymore.
Right.
They were fasting Monday through Thursday.
Yeah. Okay. Korban Eitzim, if that day was a Korban Eitzim day, which there was a shortage of wood, and they instituted that different families should donate wood to the temple, and then they instituted holidays. That and the day that they donated, it became like all celebration. So if that was the day of a celebration, a carbonatum celebration, then ein b'mincha. They didn't do it by mincha either. They didn't do the maimed. Different Rabbi Akiva. That's what Rabbi Akiva says. Amr loy Ben Azai. Ben Azai says to him, Kachay Rabbi Yeshua Shaina. Rabbi Yeshua, who's their teacher, the teacher of both of them, said, Rabbi Yeshua ben Chananya. He says, Karban Musaf ein b'mincha, Karban Eitzim ein b'nila. It's the opposite of the way you said it. If there's a Karban Musaf, then you don't say the Maimed by mincha. If there's a Karban Eitzim, then you don't do by neila. Rabbi Kiva had it the other way. A Karban Musaf you don't do by neila. Karban Eitzim you don't do by mincha. And he told them that Rabbi Shua taught it differently. So Chazar Rabbi Kiva Li'Shenik Ben Azai. Okay, Rabbi Kiva changed his mind. He accepted Ben Azai's correction. Zman Atzi Kayinim Va'am Tisha. There are 9 holidays of the Karban Eitzim. 9 days of holidays. I don't know, we learned before that he was not Aymed al Midaisav. Remember Rabbi Akiva? Why did Rabbi Akiva get answered? Not Rabbi Eliezer.
It's Mavar
Mavar al Midaisav.
That's me. That's not that.
Yeah. In this the Jewish Lives books, Jewish Lives, that it's not a from thing, it's like a Yale Press or something. And in there, they have a biography of Rabbi Akiva. So did you look at that, Daniel? Anyway, in there he says maybe, I don't remember. You think of Rabbi Akiva as this great teacher and genius. He was great in Midas. He says, "How will the Torah enter my heart?" It doesn't say his mind, unless you want to translate "leiv" as mind. But he wanted, can my character become affected? And Rachel was saying, and then he sees the rock. He says that was his heart, that he thought his heart. Yeah, it's a different twist on it, but whoever the author was medayek in the careful reading of the different texts. Okay, so Zman Atzikainim Tisha. Okay, now we'll go through Bechad Ben Nisan, on the first day of Nisan. That's Bnei Arach Ben Yehuda. Okay, that was their day. Be'esrim B'Tamas, the 20th of Tamas, Chaf Tamas, Bnei David Ben Yehuda. That's the children of David. B'Chamisha Ba'av, on Hay of. What is that? Arizal's Yatzeh. Bnei Parish Ben Yehuda. B'Shiva Bai, on the 7th of Av. Bnei Yenadav Ben Rechav. Be'es Basara Bai, the 10th of Av, is Bnei Sina Ben Binyamin. B'Chamisha Asar Bai, on the 15th of Av. Bnei Zasa, there's 2 versions here, Ben Yehuda. And together with this day on Chamish Asar B'Av would be anyone else that didn't know their tribe, and Kayanim and Levium also would come along, would also donate then. Bnei Goinvei Eli, Bnei Kaitse Ktsias. The Gemara is going to explain what they are. They how does it translate this? Bnei Goinvei, they tricked the people. And the people that cut Ktsias is like no, the next one is descendants of those who deceived the authorities with a pestle. Hopefully, we'll explain. And then Kaitse Ktsias is the people that dry out figs, right?
That's a festival.
Yeah.
That's the thing that is good for.
Right.
How do you deceive?
Let's see we'll see hopefully in the Gemara. Then Be'esrim Bay on the 20th of Av, B'nai Pachas Mayav ben Yehuda. Be'esrim Be'elul on the 20th of Elul, B'nai Adin ben Yehuda, and Bechad B'Tevis, this is the 9th one, Shabbai B'nai Parish Shnia, that they came a second time, the B'nai Parish. Okay. Bechad B'Tevis Leihaya by Maimet, Shaya by Hal, the carbon Musaf, the carbon Eitzim. Did we say Echad B'Tevis here? Yeah, the last one was B'nai Parish Shnia, the second time the B'nai Parish came. So on that day, it's Rosh Chodesh, it's a carbon Eitzim, and there's Halal, and there's Musaf. Say by Halal, the carbon Musaf, the carbon Eitzim. So they didn't have Maimed.
The carbonation is because there's a lack of wood, so it became such a thing. Was there anything else ever that there was a lack of that it also became whether it's carbon or something else?
I don't know. It was the holiday of it was to I think was instituted to as like an encouragement of this is the day that they brought it, and it was turned into a ceremony.
A lack of water, lack of wood. Any other time we hear about lack of
Well,
something.
it's the lack of water didn't become a celebration, but the wood, the giving of the wood to keep the temple, the upkeep of the temple.
It's just for the town.
Yeah, officially it was just for these families. Okay. Why is there halal? Rosh Chodesh is not an official halal. The answer is because it's Hanukkah. Echad B'Tevis is also Hanukkah. Okay. Chamisha Dvarim Iros Aviseinu B'Shivas B'Tammuz V'Chamisha B'Tisha B'Av. There's 5 things that happened on the 17th of Tammuz, and there's 5 things that happened on Tisha B'Av. What happened on the 17th of Tammuz? B'Shivas B'Tammuz Nishtabra Luches. That's the day that Moshe Rabbeinu came down with the Luches and he sees the Egel. The Egel was built the day before. And he comes down on the 17th. He breaks the Luchas. Butal Tamid. That was in the Second Temple, I think. They stopped being able to bring the Tamid. V'hufka ha'ir. The city was breached. Was that in the Second Temple or the First Temple? Does it say over there? Roman. So it's the Second Temple. Visaraf Apostamus Asatira. Apostamus was like a Greek general or something. He burnt the Torah. And Vehemed Tzelem Behechal. And they also put up an idol in the Heichal. This was in the First Temple. This is Menashe. Rashi tells us, look in the Targum Yerushalmi to Hashemayim Kisi. It's a haftarah there. The Tisha B'Av, what are the 5 on Tisha B'Av? Nigzar alav yiseinu shelo yikansu la'aretz. After the spies came back, and there was a decree that they're going to have to be in the desert for 40 years, they came back Tisha B'Av. The Charav Abayis Barishayna, the Bayis Rishon was destroyed. Bishnia, and the second one. Is that counted as 2? Yeah. Nilka de Beitar. Beitar was captured. That was the revolt after the destruction of the First Temple. They tried to fight back. Destruction of the Second Temple. Bar Kochva. B'Necher Sha'ir, and the city was plowed over. Does that go together? So let me just count that. The Gzeira Shlayich Kansu La'aretz, the first base of Migdash, second base of Migdash, Beitar is captured and the city's plowed over is 5. Okay, Mishenichnasav Matim B'Simcha. When Av comes in, we diminish in joy. Shabbos Shechal Tisha B'Av Liyes B'Seicha. The week of Tisha B'Av. Asr Milasaper Lachabis, can't take a haircut and you can't wash the clothing. That's very Sephardic. we do from the Rosh Chodesh. The Sephardic custom is just the week of Tisha B'Av. B'chamishi mutarim mipnei kavod Shabbos. But on Thursday, you're allowed to wash and take a haircut in honor of Shabbos, even though it's the week of Tisha B'Av. Erev Tisha B'Av, the day before Tisha B'Av, lo yechel adam shnei tavshilin. This we do by the Suda Mafsekas. You don't have two courses, two dishes. You just have one thing. We have a boiled egg. Lo yechel basav liyish the yayin, and you can't have meat and wine. Sounds just like it's Erev Tisha B'Av, not like the 9 days. We'll have to see why it got extended. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Aimer. How does it say? How does it go over there? Let me read this. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Aimer Yishana. One must adjust and decrease the amount he eats. He has to change the way he eats. Yeah, the Gemara is going to explain what that means. Rabbi Yehuda Mechayev b'kviyas hamita. Rabbi Yehuda says that you have to turn over the bed, which that's what they would do by Avelis. They wouldn't sleep on the bed normally. But the sages did not agree with that. We take away a pillow, right? It's Amar Rab Shimon ben Gamliel. Shimon ben Gamliel says, there was no holiday like the 15th of Av, Yom Kippurim, and like Yom Kippur. Shabahan, that on both of them, this is interesting. The daughters of Yerushalayim would go out in white clothes, shulim, they were borrowed. That way, there would be no one would be showing off because it wasn't their own. So they would borrow clothing, and they would not to shame someone that wasn't able to afford. And kol hakelim tulin tefillah, they had to put it in the mikveh. They didn't know if a woman was in nida, then her clothing would be tameh. So they had to take the clothing and put it in the mikveh. Imagine you borrow someone's jacket and then you put it in the mikveh. So it was probably the gowns that they wore. So the daughters of Yerushalayim would go out and they would dance in the vineyards. What would they say? Bachar sanai necha urei mata bayralach. Bachar is the English bachelor. Right? Without the L. Is it lift up your eyes and see what you choose? Al titinin echa benai. Don't look at beauty. Tenin echa b'mishpacha. Look at the family. Sheker achein v'hevel hayofi. Grace is false, and beauty is vanity. Isha yiras Hashem yitisalo. A woman that fears God is praiseworthy. And also it says, give to her the work of your hands, her hands. And they'll praise her in the gates, her work. It also says, go out and see daughters of Tzion, b'melech Shleima. King Shleima ba'atara shit shleimid, the crown that his mother crowned him. B'yom chasanasei, b'yom simchas, on the day of his wedding, the day of his gladdened heart. B'yom chasanasei, the day of his wedding, zeh matan Torah. B'yom simchas liba zeh binyan beis hamikdash sheibana b'mher v'yameinu. So matan Torah over here, when it says b'yom chasanasei zeh matan Torah, this is referring to Yom Kippur. Why is matan Torah Yom Kippur? Because the second luchas were given on Yom Kippur.
Rabbi Smith,
Yeah.
it says there, they said raise up your eyes, right? Don't look at beauty, pay attention to family. How, just by looking at them, were they able to tell what kind of family or whatever they were looking at other than the beauty?
Right. Yeah. The Moshe says they had the shadchan standing next to them saying,
It means like, look at the rods.
They probably carried the resumes around, like, right here, this is
right. Also, there was a little the pasuk didn't actually match it says look at the family, and then it says the woman that's God-fearing. That didn't really match the family. I mean, that's God-fearing. Is that genetic? No. I don't know. I don't know if it's genetic.
I have a commentary here that says that it was the woman that came from a distinguished lineage. They would be the ones that would say this.
Right. Oh, so okay. So 1 second. The Gemara at the end is gonna say that there's different women that are saying different things. Each one is saying something else. That we'll have at the end. That's correct. Yeah. At least it doesn't say look at the money.
Yeah.
Okay. That's right. They say some. I had some weddings. They said it wasn't the wedding; it was a merger. Okay. B'shleisha prakim b'shana kainim neisim eskapeyam. 3 times. 3 times a year, the kainim say birkas kainim 4 times a day. Gemara asks straight away. It says, Taanis, my mother's mika. No, I'm a second. I'm jumping over there. No, Taanis, my mother's mika. Musaf, is there Musaf? One of the 4 was Musaf. Shachris, Musaf, Mincha, Neila. But you don't have Musaf then. So it says, Chsuri mechzer v'achik tani. B'shleisha prakim, kayinim neisim eskapeim kol zman shemispalim. Really, what it means is that when in each of the prayers they do birkas kayanim, and some of them are actually 4 times a day, but there are others that are only 3. Yeah, okay. And these are the 3 times of the year. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabba Baravua. Rav Nachman says the name of Rabba Baravua is probably his father-in-law. Zudiv Reb Meir. This is the opinion of Reb Meir. But the sages say, no, it's not 4 times a day. It's only twice a day. Shachris and Musaf. Yesh bem nesiyas kapayim. Mincha neila ein bem nesiyas kapayim. We don't have, by Mincha neila, the kayinim do not duchen. They don't do the blessing. Man chachamim. According to Reb Nachman, according to Rabba Baravua, he says that this is actually a machlekes. Who are the chachamim that he's quoting that say differently than our Mishnah? Marian says it's Rabbi Yehudahi. It's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. Tanya Shachris and Musaf, Mincha Uneila, Kulam Yeshbem Nesias Kapayim. We quote a brisa. Div Reb Meir that all 4 prayers there is birchas kayanim. Rabbi Yehuda Shachris and Musaf Yeshbem Nesias Kapayim. Mincha Neila Ein Bem Nesias Kapayim. Rabbi Yehuda says no. By Musaf and Neila. By Mincha and Neila, I'm sorry, Mincha and Neila, that you don't have birkas kayanim. Rabbi Yossi Aimer Neila yesh bem nesiyas kapayim, Mincha ein bem nesiyas kapayim. So we skip. It's not the first half a day, like Rabbi Yehuda says. Rabbi Yehuda says Shachris and Musaf. That's it. Rabbi Yossi says Shachris, Musaf, and Neila. What happened to Mincha? No Mincha. You skip one. The Maika Miflagi. What are they arguing about? By the way, do we say on Yom Kippur, we only do birkas kayanim by Musaf, but do we say Yivrech Hashem by Mincha Neila? Does the Chazan say Yivrech Hashem by Mincha Neila? You have to look in a machzor.
I think Neila, yes, for sure, but I'm not sure about Mincha.
Now, when a Taanis Tzibur, we say it by Mincha, right? By a Taanis Tzibur, we say it by Mincha. Okay. Anyway, Rabbi Yossi's opinion is no birchas kayanim by. You have a Neila in there. Yeah. Okay, that's going to be a real birchas kayanim. I want to know the recitation of the Chazan. Oh, in the Ila there is. You're right, Salman. In the Ila there is. Oh, you're Chazan. You daven for Damad?
I don't usually daven the. I've done it, but usually our Shapiro does. But I just know from hearing it.
You have to ask the bacher that does mincha.
Yaakov Rothman does Mincha Vayas.
Okay. So I'll see him. I'll ask him. So or I'll look in the machzor. Micah Miflige, what's the machlekes? Rameir. Oh my gosh, I didn't see the time. We'll continue. We're up to Micah Miflige.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. We'll stop right here.
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a good day.
Good day.